All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. Foster here at Foster Web Marketing, here with Mindy Weinstein. Although she's not right here, she's out in California. So she's a little 3 hours behind us. So Mindy, thanks for joining us, as always, and helping me deliver this great information. And
You are welcome.
Michael's here as well.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon.
Michael will be doing social media posts and feeding me questions. So what we like to do, gang, is you're going to have questions as we go over this. And when you have the question, go ahead and put it in the little question form on the GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar application there and send it in, and we'll get to it at the end of the call. And today is a special day because, Mindy, we're finishing up our the guide to winning the online war, which we've already talked about attract, we've talked about convert, and now we're talking about the final piece of the puzzle, which is retain, right? And this is a good thing for everybody to learn. And you know, really, some of you have been doing SEO and been doing web marketing for a few years now, and you've gone through the whole attract. You've attracted people to your website. Many of you have. Some of you are just getting started on that. But no matter what, it's just a recycling series, and you're constantly working on ways to improve the attraction to your website. The attraction is anything having to do with SEO, with content, with social media, with video, all those kinds of things, and converting them into leads. And then the next final step is retaining them and nurturing them. Right? And that's the hardest part, right, Mindy?
It is the hardest part. And you can do all those, the first two steps, but if you miss the last one, you know, you're not getting the most out of your marketing.
And this is what happens a lot, is that we have clients pay attention or only work on the attraction. They're only worried about SEO. They're spending a bunch of money on even, you know, content. They're spending a bunch of money on SEO strategies, pay-per-click, and they're doing a bunch to attract people to their website and maybe even converting a lot of those leads. But are they retaining them as clients? And that's really what we're going to be going into today. And really, so Mindy, what is the biggest, most important asset of any law practice or any doctor's office or any business?
Well, I can answer that for you, Tom. The biggest asset is by far your customer database. So whether that's patients or whether that's clients, that is your biggest asset.
And we talk about this all the time. Ben Glass talks about it all the time. All, you know, leaders talk about it all the time. Certainly people that are on the phone with us and that have seen us speak, we talk about this customer relationship database, your database, your list, your herd, your community. Call it whatever you want, but the bottom line, it is the list of all the people that you continue to market to. And the whole point when you're doing your attraction is to attract people that don't know you, or attract people that did some search. Maybe it's for some keyword that you want to be found for, but maybe it's for you personally. You want to take everybody that contacts you or that comes to your website and put them into your list, your database, because that's very much like kind of having your own farm. Instead of hunting and killing every day and going out and, you know, hunting every day for squirrels or whatever you eat. Mike, you've eaten some squirrels, haven't you?
Yeah, squirrels are actually delicious.
There you go. So Michael needs a list, right? Because he needs to stop going out and hunting for squirrels every day. But it's a harder thing to do, and some of the databases that we recommend, Infusionsoft is you know, one of the biggest and the best that comes to mind. Blue Orchid is another one that we know a lot of people use. You know, DSS is kind of a little database in itself too. But it is really the most important thing that you can do. And if you don't have one, then you've got to go out and get one right now. That is going to be your downfall if you do not have your list, your database. Okay, and the thing is that everyone that contacts you, every lead that comes in needs to be added, whether or not they're your perfect client, because they may know someone, maybe not right this minute, but somewhere down the road that will need you, or that someone will know someone else that needs you. And it works. I mean, it just works. And you know how people are. We love to refer. If you ask me a question, I asked Mike. Mike used to sell firewood and cut down trees, so I asked Mike, where's a good place to get firewood? I can go online, hey, where's firewood in Fairfax, Virginia? But I asked Mike, and I didn't even bat at how much it was going to be. I didn't even ask you how much it was going to be. And that's the thing is like, well, he's like, oh, this is the best guy. It's got the best kind of wood. And that's kind of a simple example, but that's how people operate. It's how people, what's a good doctor? And Mindy, you just moved to California, and you've got an interesting story about finding your perfect doctor and what you did to do that. And, you went to so tell us a little bit about that. How did you find doctors for your kids? Did you go type in, Orange County doctor?
No, I did not. Yeah, first I did start with a search though, because I wanted to know, start with my list. And so I did a search on Google. I did my area, Fullerton, physician, whatever I typed in, and I started compiling a list. Then I went on the medical websites, the ones that will review doctors, and I went on those to see what other patients had to say about them, how they were graded, that type of thing. I even went as far as to look if the doctor had written anything, any publications that maybe seemed interesting, or really like how much did it appear that they knew. And I had this really long list, and I mean I got it down to 2 doctors, and then I called their office too to see like what were they like when they answered the phone. So now maybe not everyone would go through all that great length, but the thing is I thought, well, this is our family doctor, it's an important decision, and I want to make sure it's a good fit. So that means there are other people like me out there doing that. So you have to make sure that not only are you doing the right things on your website, but that you're also out there on those local sites and you're getting some good reviews. So it's important.
That is hilarious. Now, I'm not sure if everybody's going to do as much research as Mindy did, but that's a great example of how you found the right doctor. And when people are looking for something as important as a doctor, something as important as a lawyer, they're going to do that. I mean, they're just not going to settle for, doing a internet search. And so that's why it's so important that you capture every lead, because it's not just, they're just not going to stop at your site. So even if you're on page 1, slot 1, they're not going to just call you and that's it. They're going to move on, just like you don't just stop at the first selection. You're going to go check out other people. And so you want to make sure, let me ask you a question, when you're doing any of that doctor research, any of them offer free information or reports or anything that?
No, I didn't see anything like that. So that would have definitely, gotten my interest even more, but I didn't see anything like that.
Well, you're kind of on the inside, though, too, so you kind of look at things differently. So maybe
right. No, that is true.
Because you're going to be a lot tougher, but that's the good point. I mean, so you want to make sure that on your website that you have things that keep them around, get them off what Dan Kennedy calls the cesspool of the internet. And, search, you want to get them off that as quickly as possible. So even if you're slot 1, page 1, slot 1, they're going to go there. You want to make sure that you have a good offer. You want to make sure that there's a contact, that there is a chat, everything there to attract or to get them to contact you so you can start nurturing them. Nurturing is the next step in order to retain them. So make sure that you have that too. And we've talked about this. This is all part of it. But it's very important for retention because they're going to go on and look at other websites. They're going to go on and look at your competitors. But if they have signed up for your free offer or contacted you, if you compelled them to contact you, and just coming up on page 1 for a particular search term is not compelling enough for them to contact you. That's a whole different game. So you need to have something interesting and relevant to their situation. Make sure that your offers match the pages that people are landing on. You can't have, if you're trying to sell auto accident services or auto accident attorney, you don't want to have a Social Security book on that page. If you're trying to sell estate planning, you don't want to have a DUI book on that page because that's not going to work. So be smart about that. You've done all the work to attract. You've done all the work to convert. Now let's make sure that you have the right offers on the right pages. That's the problem that we see all the time. Right, Mindy?
It is a problem we see a lot, is matching those offers, because you want to make sure that, yeah, when someone lands on your page, you have to spend careful attention on that page, just like Tom said. So everything about that page, if it's an auto accident client that you're trying to get, it should all be focused on that, including the free offer. So I think that's a very, very important point to remember.
And I mean, Mindy and I work with clients, or, the clients that we work with every month that are in the deluxe and premium and above campaigns, and we spend a lot of time doing this. It's not just about adding new content all the time. It's also about going back and making sure that your existing content is performing for you. And it's not just about bounce rate. And Lord knows we've talked enough about that. But making sure that your offer is consistent with the topic of the page, the subject of the page. Okay. All right, I think that we've beaten that one enough. But I'm telling you right now, a lot of you won't get this, but it is so important. And, Connie, I know that you're listening in. If you can just unmute yourself, just to tell everybody that this is a common problem that we hear. And, something as simple as matching up your offers to your content, right?
I hear this every single day on calls with clients, Tom.
Yeah. So guys, listen, this is worth gold. Just this little tidbit can make the difference in getting that big case or not getting that big case. Losing that big case to your competitor because you don't have the right offer on the site, to take them off of search and have them start talking to you. And of course, that's when the next stuff happens, which is the automatic marketing, the automated stuff. And so, Mindy, this is all the stuff that happens in the back end. For us, Michael, this is a big part of your responsibility for Fosterway marketing. And let me just say this to everybody. We're in the same boat. You think that we're not like doing tricks that we don't tell you about. There's no secret that we're not sharing with you. The secret is that there's really no secret. The secret is that it just is a lot of work. And the smarter that you are with it, the better off you're going to be. There's no magic purple pill. I wish there was one. I would be selling it to you. But there isn't. The fact is that this requires a lot of different things to make it successful. That's why we've broken it up: attract, convert, retain. So we are at the end of the race. We have gotten people to the website. We've gotten people to contact us. We have gotten our database. We have them all in our database. Now, what do we do? And this is what Mike and I talk about daily. Ben Glass and I talk about it all the time. Mindy, we talk about it all the time. Connie, we talk about it all the time. Gretchen, everybody, all clients, this is what we're trying to do, is once we have them in there, how can we convert them? Now, some of the best, and I think that we're going to talk about this, but make sure that you have a specific campaign for each offer. And so, like an offer would be, your book on bike injury, or like our book, and we actually have a free offer for you guys, free, for you as a little Christmas gift that we'll tell you at the end that we're pretty excited about. But little things that your clients are interested in. So if somebody is interested in Social Security information, that's a different offer and a different campaign than someone that is interested in planning estates. Now you could be like, well, that's obvious, Tom. But if you are a general personal injury practice, like a lot of you guys are, and you do multiple things within that personal injury space, you might think it's one category, but your clients don't. Like, they're having a medical malpractice issue, not an auto accident. It's a different kind of language, different kind of narrative. So the more specific, the better your success. The other thing that you want to do is these drip campaigns. Now, so Mindy, the drip campaigns that we work on, this is for somebody that signs up for a book or whatever. It's not just a book. They could fill out a chat form. They could fill out a report. They could fill out a contact form. But these are the sequences that happen after someone fills it out. So, Mike, let's talk about some of the huge goof-ups that we've made just to tell people, so that they don't make it themselves. Like the fact that we had like 86 emails going, and some of you guys have probably been abused by it.
That's a huge one. Having thumbnails for videos that when you click on them don't actually play. Let's see, links that are broken, spelling mistakes, grammatical mistakes, which drive me nuts.
Minnie does it on purpose. Minnie loves to throw grammatical errors in the content.
That's my one humongous pet peeve. Okay, that's a side note. You can keep going, Mike.
Basically, mistakes happen.
Yep. And
They happen a lot. Your automatic marketing should never go stagnant. It should be an ongoing process that you're constantly working at, because you are going to constantly find things that you may have looked over the first couple of times you put it all together.
But if you do it right, they work. And you also need to understand and have a clear expectation of your client acquisition timeline. What is the average time it takes you to acquire a client from the first time they call in? If you're a DUI lawyer, that might be an immediate. Or if you're a bankruptcy, that might be immediate. You've got to move fast. If you're a PI lawyer or a maritime lawyer, that might take a little bit longer, depending upon the size of the case, as they evaluate their options. Your job here is to make sure that all their options turn to you. That requires more effort on this piece of it, because you're still convincing them. I hear it all the time from lawyers and doctors that if I get them on the phone, I'm closing it. Well, you have to consider that you haven't gotten them on the phone yet, but this is your phone call. And you can look at it that way. Like, what are the things that you say on the phone to convince them that you're the guy? You can do that through these back-end campaigns. And these back-end campaigns, you want to use multiple modalities. Don't just rely on email. That's a mistake. People don't read email like they used to. You know it. You don't read your email like you used to. Obviously, as soon as someone contacts you, you should be calling, or someone should be calling on the phone to try to close that piece of business. Direct mail, we find, is probably the most successful and best return on investment that you can do in terms of getting in front of people. And we'll talk about that in a minute too. But understanding how these campaigns work and constantly improving them is critical to your success. It is not just about SEO, which most of you stop after SEO. Most of you stop after, well, I'm getting 20,000 visits to my website. I'm rocking. That's not the whole story. You could have 20,000 visits to your website with a 90% bounce rate. That doesn't mean you're having 20,000 visits. That's high math, Mike. What does that mean? You get a 90% bounce rate on 20,000 visits. How many people do you really have coming to your website? We'll come back to Mike as he figures that out. Okay, so let's talk about compelling direct mail. That's the big thing. Listen, direct mail is old school, but it's new school now, because everybody jumped off on the web and went nuts on online, went nuts on email. Everybody did, not just us, but think about all your mortgage company and your, you can tell me, Mike. Look how long it took him. How old are you, Mike? 24.
24, English major.
Okay.
2,500.
2,500. So that's really, out of 20,000,
I thought you
that's
said 25.
really, okay, well, that's good, close enough. Out of 25,000, if you have a 90% bounce rate, 2,500. I could have, okay, whatever, we'll move on. Okay, so anyway, back to direct mail. It's the oldest and most effective form of marketing, but you have to be creative and be provocative and get them to do something, and you should have an action that leads them to a landing page on your website so you can track it. So your website is also used for more than just SEO, more than just attracting. You also need to use it for your landing pages and to send people to contact you. And the big thing is, man, you've got to test, test, and test constantly. I mean, let's just talk about that for a minute, because that has to do with headlines and copy and whatnot. So Minnie, you've had some experience, and this goes back to some of the earlier talks, but it still holds true here, is how important is the headline to the copy of the piece?
It's one of the most important aspects of it. And before I even get into that, just going with what you're saying, you know, you have to remember that even if someone's in your database, they contacted you, right? So they're in your database. Don't just assume that when you send them direct mail that you still don't have to be interesting, that just having your logo and your office name, that's going to be enough, because they'll think, oh yeah, you know, I know who this company is. That's definitely not going to get the mail open for you. So you have to be provocative, you have to be creative, and that all starts with the headline. So whether it's a landing page that you're working on, whether it's an email, whether it's a letter, you have to be interesting in the beginning. And you know, we've talked about before in the past of using, you know, headlines from usually fashion magazines, because they tend to be a little bit more provocative, and just switching out the words. And that's something that we teach our writing team, because you already have the formula. It's already interesting. You just swap the words out so it makes sense to what you're writing. And we actually added to that recently on a writer's webinar that we had last week, that even you pay attention to the headlines that you see every day in front of you. Hannah McNaughton, our content manager, was talking about how every day she's on AOL, and they're always very interesting headlines, and so she started using the same formula. Use the headline, swap out the words, and it's interesting, and people are going to keep reading. So you have to pay careful attention to the headline. If you ignore it, your people aren't going to read. They're not going to continue reading.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this is really important. I'm glad you brought that up. And if, everyone should know this by now, but Mindy's not just a pretty face, guys. Okay, Mindy is a published author, and not self-published author. What was it, Penguin Books? Is that who it was with?
McGraw-Hill is one of
okay.
them. Yeah.
That's not just like a
It's just McGraw-Hill.
So why don't you tell a little bit about that, because that has to do with the headlines too. You went there with a certain title.
Oh yeah, so so when, you know, the manuscript was already written, you know, when it was presented to McGraw-Hill, and it was titled Money Calorie Counter. I thought that was a great title for the book. I mean, Money Calorie Counter, you don't see that everywhere. Well, you know, the publisher got their hands on it, and they have a whole team that is solely devoted to coming up with book titles. So it was renamed to Rich and Thin, which is funny because that's way better. That's going to get the book picked up a lot more than Money Calorie Counter. So if you're in Barnes & Noble and you see a book, Money Calorie Counter, or one that says Rich and Thin, you're going to pick up the one that says Rich and Thin, because it speaks to the desire of most people. Most people want to be rich, and most people want to be thin. So it just shows the difference. You might think you have a good headline, but keep working at it, because I'm sure you can come up with something better.
Yeah, and that's really it. I mean, like, and this goes to everything. It's everything. And so when we say headline, we mean across the board, not just your books, not just the title of your books, not just the title of your offers, which we're going to get into again, but it's the title of your web pages. Pages, not just your home page. I mean, I've gone through this, and some of you on this call know who I'm talking about, but people that have been doing this for years are still adding headlines that are just the word of what you do, like auto accident. Like, what's compelling about that? You know, medical malpractice lawyer. That is not compelling. But if you do, you know, like, are you looking for the best auto accident lawyer in your area? I mean, like, something more compelling, where we might not be the best auto accident lawyer in the area, but check us out before you talk to the competition. Or something more compelling. Those aren't very good examples, but you've got to pay attention to the headlines, and you will see when you're looking at your own analytics to see what pages are converting. You'll notice that your pages that have more intriguing headlines, provocative headlines, will convert more than the ones that don't.
And just on that note, Tom, you know, I've been writing for years. I mean, I've been dabbled in some form of content for as long as I can remember. And I have to tell you, even with all that experience, still the titles and the headlines, that takes me a very long time. So, I mean, expect that you're going to spend time on that, that the first concept you come up with might not be the best. You have to just keep tweaking the words around. So just be prepared for that. That's still what I do today.
And that was some great advice that you said. I mean, you know what Hannah does? Look at what these other big companies are doing. AOL, Huffington Post, CNN, Glamour, Mademoiselle, Cosmopolitan, all these things. Those guys spend buku bucks on testing and split testing headlines. So if you're writing for like a lawyer, all you're going to do is attract other lawyers. If you want clients, how do your clients think? What do your clients read? What are they used to doing? You know, I talked about everybody that's a bankruptcy and a DUI and a family law attorney should be watching TMZ and getting a TMZ app, because there's just plenty of junk there to talk about all the live long day. All right, so let's get into this next thing. And Mindy, this is a big thing, what we always talk about, but this is a little bit different. So we've already talked about creating offers that help with the conversion of a web visitor to become a prospect or a lead. And this is a little bit different. It's building value and it's building offers and stuff like that. But let's say, for instance, you've already got your database. And I'm going to show you an example of this in effect. For instance, we offer our reports to our existing clientele, to our existing people that are in our herd, to let everyone know that we're staying on top of things. So there's no reason why, once you create new offers and then send those to your entire list. You don't have to do it just once. So if somebody came into your list 5 years ago and they want to know about workers' compensation, you might have done 5 reports since then. You should keep them in the know and send them information as you go along, as you come up with new stuff, because it keeps them interested in you. How many of you remember your doctor's name? I can't remember mine. Well, that's not true. But I saw him not that long ago. Do you remember your? Well, you see him all the time.
I see him all the time. I'm constantly hurting myself.
Well, if you're one of those people, if you're a rugby player and a hockey player and you like to get your face smashed like Michael, then you probably know your doctor's name by heart. You probably have him on speed dial. Maybe he lives at your house. I don't know. Mindy, I mean, and you know who your doctor is because you just did this. But
right.
You don't. And I guarantee you, if you're a doctor on this line, there's a lot of your patients that don't remember you because you haven't made sure. A lot of lawyers, they look at, well, crap, I already did that case. What do I need to continue to market to them for? Well, because they have people and they know other people and they have friends and family. And so if you stay in their mind fresh, oh, that's the guy that helped me get, that 50 grand or that 100 grand a few years ago. Forgot about him. Oh, wow, look at the newsletter. I didn't know that he went to did this community event. That's the same thing I'm interested in. I mean, we have clients like what Shane Smith, he told me that, what did he say, that 16% of his new cases come from his newsletter. His newsletter, 16%. That's from his list. That's 16% that he builds on every year, and it just gets better and better. He doesn't have to go buy marketing for that every time. All he's doing is doing that newsletter and that list. It works, guys. You want to add anything else to this, Mindy?
I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, you said it right there. It's on the slide too, that the reason you do it is that you want to keep them interested. You want to keep them engaged. I mean, again, you don't want them to forget about you. And just like Tom said, we do it to let you guys know we're on top of things. Your clients are going to be looking for the same type of thing. But you can get more specific too, as the additional reports and additional books that you create. Yeah, get focused on a particular topic. I think that's very helpful too.
Yeah, because your competitors are not standing idly by. And if you want repeat business from your clients, then you need to keep them trusting and loving you. And because they're going to be, people get bored. People get bored in relationships, so you got to keep them excited. Just like we try to keep you guys excited. We don't always do such a great job, but we sure try to create a culture of excellent customer service, which is what you guys need to do, especially you guys, lawyers and doctors, the professionals of the world that everyone looks up to. You need to have a culture of excellent customer service. There is no hiding behind anything anymore, and because everybody's out there talking about it online, right? Let's talk about this. What did you do when you looked for a doctor? Perfect example.
I looked at reviews, and I have to tell you, I actually didn't go, or I didn't even call some of the doctors because some of the reviews were bad. And you're going to have a mix, but when it seemed like overall the reviews weren't so good, I just moved on. Or if they didn't have any reviews at all, I still moved on because then I thought, well, how am I supposed to know? I have nothing to go by for this doctor. So it was a huge, huge part of my decision making.
So you were one of this 49% that
Was.
Pepperdine University says, and I mean that's just growing because the information is available. And so here's the deal, gang. Here's what you need to understand, and this is a fact. I'm not just making this up. Someone might do this crazy SEO keyword search for your site that everybody's trying to sell you pay-per-click and keywords and all this crap on, Fairfax personal injury attorney. That's fine, all right? I understand SEO gets you there. But they're going to do another search for you once they find you, just like Minnie did. Minnie did some basic search, probably like Fullerton doctors or physicians, family physicians, and got a whole bunch of crap that she had to go through, but it's important to her. It's her family. It's important. Don't you think that it's important that people trying to find a lawyer or a doctor, that they're going to go through the same effort? Or do you think that they're just going to hire you because they've done one search for, blah, 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 personal injury attorney? And the next question is, you have to look at those searches real hard and the clients that did that search and see if those were good clients, the kind that you want. Because I can almost guarantee that they probably weren't. There's probably a bunch of junk that comes in through that portal. I know it's true of us. I mean, like, anybody that kind of search for best attorney websites, which we come up high for, we're usually bouncing around page 1. We generally don't turn out to be our perfect client, and I don't mean to offend anybody on this call if that's what you search to find us. But the point is that using the 80-20 rule, people are going to go do the search for the keyword. Let's assume that they did that, and then they find you, Joe Smith, Ben Glass, Dave Breeze, whoever, Bob Bauer. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to search for your name. And if you don't have a good Apple rating, if you don't have a good social media presence, if you don't have good Google reviews, if you have bad reviews, you're in for trouble. That has nothing to do with SEO. That has nothing to do with Google. That has everything to do with you. You. And so you have to create excellent customer service. Excellent. And that's not just you. It's your staff. It's your entire culture. I spent last Friday, as some of you might have seen my posts, my social media posts, which were all by me, by the way. And I'm getting better at it, Mike.
You are? Yeah.
Getting better at my social media posting.
It's all the coaching.
It is all the coaching. And it's true. I've gotten a lot better at it. I'm 45 years old. I did not grow up in the social media world that Michael has. And so I've learned a lot from him on what type of things to post, when to post, what not to post, what to put on Twitter, what to put on Facebook, yada, yada, yada. The point is that we all can still learn. Anyway, so I was up at Dr. Peter Wishney's Family Foot and Ankle Care up in Piscataway, New Jersey, getting my foot fixed. And what a culture of excellence that Dr. Wishney has with his entire staff. And he's got, and I don't think I'm allowed to show it, but he's got all these charts and stuff in his office that basically just go into major detail, granular detail about how to treat a client, how to treat a customer, a patient that comes in. And, all we heard was fantastic testimonials from the patients that he and his doctors have helped. And it's just, that's what you want to hear. That's what we want our clients to do. So you need to create this culture of excellent customer service. It starts online, and, who answers the phone? It begins there. Just because you don't take their insurance, don't blow them off. It's not their fault that you don't take their insurance. You can still take their name and try to help them out. That's what they're going to remember. Take their name and refer them to somebody that will, Anyway, you get the point. Be very aware of how you treat the people when they're coming into the door. And so here's just something. This is a thing that we do for some clients. We did for Shane Smith, which is asking for reviews. Instead of sending everybody to Google review, and you send them to your page on your website where they can choose where they want to go. They can go to Google review. They can go to Angie's List. They can go to Avo. They can go wherever. And we're going to step this up here pretty soon. I don't know if Danielle's on the phone. I think I'll get in trouble for saying it out loud. But we're going to be adding something new to DSS, guys, where you'll be able to capture testimonials from your clients right there and then be able to send them off to where you want. And that is so the powers that be at Google decide not to just, trash can your reviews that you've been trying to get for so long. So that's what's going on there. So let us know if you'd like some help in setting up one of these, what do we call these review pages? What do we call these, Connie?
Those are review pages. No, I'm here. I just was muted. Sorry. Those are review pages.
Review pages. So what's the best way to get one of these? Just to
Put on the Need Help button, and you have to send us all the links that you want, where you want us to go, and we can create the page, but then you'll need to create the content that goes around it.
Yeah, so we can help you do this if you're interested in doing something like this. It's a little thing to do. Can make a difference. Okay, next thing, surveys and polls. Oh man, who loves to fill out surveys and polls? Well, they're important. And you can see that we've started to do this a little bit too, but just a little bit. We try to send out a survey. I don't know did we get one done for the end of this webinar? No, see, we try to do better. Mike's give me that look. Because we talked about this last time. We want to get our surveys in the webinar, right? So we're going to start doing that. We got our surveys in our email. So when someone contacts us for customer support, we have our survey day there. How can we do better? And you want to ask your clients the same thing. Why do your clients love you? And why are they annoyed with you? It goes both ways. You can't just say, please, you better love me or else. That's not how it works. You never, and you don't really know if you're messing up unless you ask the question. It's very frustrating when clients, everybody feels this way regardless of what business you're in, leave in the dark of night, you don't even know what you did to upset them. That's like, your spouse just leaving you one night, and that's that. You don't even know what you did. How do you get better if you don't know what you did? So start asking those questions early on, and don't be defensive. Listen to it, and start making positive changes. And ask your existing clients that you've got in the door now. What you have done, what they like about you, what you do, or what about the whole process, the transaction has been less than comfortable, or anyway, just get what you can out of them. A lot of this stuff you can do on exit interviews, just like when you ask them for reviews. Before you hand them the check or before you let them leave, just ask them, 3, 4, 5 questions. Anything else on that, Minnie, you want to add? Any other tricks that we can? Oh, hey, how do you get them to do it?
Oh, you have to give them an incentive, absolutely. Right. We've heard of all kinds of incentives that people have given, but even something as simple as a $5 Starbucks gift card will likely get someone to fill out your survey. So you don't have to do anything too grandiose, but you'll get some people who will do the survey just because, but most people need some kind of enticement.
Yeah. Just be very, make a move on what you find out. I mean, don't just ask questions and not change. So ask the questions, do a cutoff date, say, okay, well, this is what we're gonna do. But yeah, I think that was Peter Wishing that did Dunkin' Donuts cards for a review, and he just got overwhelmed with the reviews. But that's one way to do it. All right, let's move on here. Here's a big one, and this one is to me, this is the difference maker. Out of everything that we've talked about, this is the difference maker of winning businesses, period, regardless of what you do, and the ones that are always following them. And it sounds easy, or it's, it's maybe cliche, get involved in the community and charity, but it's truly the difference maker. Our top clients, our clients that are successful across the board, regardless of what happens with Google and Penguin and Panda and whatever else they're coming up with down the road, those that are involved in the community and give back what they are getting tend to be winners. And we've just seen this across the board. I have not seen one client that has been involved in the community that has not been successful. Right? I mean, Mindy, here's why.
Yeah, it works. This works. I mean, we've seen it work with our clients. It's working for us too. So it's not just something that we say, hey, this is in theory something that would be good for you to do. I mean, we've seen positive effects from it.
Yeah, and you know, it's one is it's brand recognition, so you get your name out there. Two is you get links from the websites or the communities or the charities, and I'm going to show you some of that in just a minute of our own efforts there. It doesn't cost you, like you don't have to go pay money, except you know what you're contributing and your time, of course. But that's real, you know, and you get out of it what you give, and it's not like you know going buying pay-per-click and you don't know what's going to happen and stuff like this. This actually is good for you and good for the community. And so, if you want to follow in the footsteps, if you want to have a winning law firm, get involved. It's as easy as you know just getting started in the direction. The more that you get involved in the community and charity programs, the more charity programs will come seek you out, of course. It is up to you to turn them down. It's a business decision, or sign up for it. But don't be like, well, I'm not going to do that because then everybody will be asking me for money. Of course, you have money to give. If you don't, and you should give it. I mean, that's the point, is that we want to help each other. And you need to help people in your community that you benefit from. So, like I said, that's one of the biggest difference makers that we see. And this right here, is this a clickable link or you just get a screen grab? Well, this is
It's just the screen.
Can I show this, Mandy?
Yes, you can show it.
All right, so this is, I'm going to show this. All right, right here is, oops. Oh, look at how wacky that got. There we go. All right, so everybody see this okay? Can we see my screen?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. Now this is a, Minnie, why don't you talk about this?
Okay. Okay, I'm trying to figure out where to start with this. So hydrocephalus is something that I have, and so the whole team at Foster Web Marketing and Fairfax Video Studio decided to do the run that was in DC for the Hydrocephalus Association. So it's a big charity event to raise money for research and for really just awareness about this condition. And so it was really cool. Danielle actually led the way in getting everyone organized on this, but everybody surprised me, participated in the event, which was great. Obviously that was near and dear to me, and because of it, I even reached out to the Hydrocephalus Association to let them know that, you know, how great the company that I work with is, and look what they did, and they surprised me with doing something that was just obviously very close to my heart and something that meant a lot to me. And so even because of that, so not only did the team get out there and get involved and do something that, you know, supported one of their own, which definitely touched me, it also just raised awareness too. So the Hydrocephalus Association picked up the story about what everyone did, and they're using it to encourage other companies to get out there and support, you know, really support their teams too and their employees. So I mean, just had this great ripple effect. So I mean, one, obviously there was a feel-good benefit for me because it just meant so much to me, and two, getting the team together, and three, we even got a link from it. I mean, that was kind of a side thing, but then picking up the story, we got a link back to our site. So there was just so many benefits that came from it that it's something that really everyone should be doing. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or you're a lawyer, you should be getting out there in the community, and you really should be talking with your staff too to see what's important to them. You know, like I said, there's just so many benefits to it.
Yeah.
In this story right here in the story just posted actually today of all days on the Hydrocephalus Association's website. So it's something that they'd asked me to write.
Yeah, and you know, you brought up the link. I mean, the value of this link is that it's coming from a .org, and that has a much higher value than a .com. And these are some of the high authority links that we're always talking about trying to get. And you know, there's multiple benefits, as Mindy said, from getting involved in the community. There's the obvious, you're helping someone, to you know, the notoriety and the branding and the getting out there, and the linking opportunity. But you know, it really comes down to the fact that you're helping someone. And I can tell you that the way that this came about was we didn't set out to say, hey, let's go after this link and we've got Mindy to help us out. It really didn't happen like that. It was just kind of an accident. We were working on, it was like earlier this summer, and we were working on these presentations, and we were talking about community and charity, and saying, you know, all the best clients are doing this. We got to, you know, let's let everyone else know about it. And then I was like, we're not doing this ourselves. And so I challenged the entire staff to come up with some charities that are meaningful to them personally, and things that we can get involved with here locally and elsewhere. And really just the first thing that, you know, Danielle found it pretty quick, this opportunity, and we didn't really connect it to Mindy right away. That was kind of a little bit later, because Mindy doesn't go like tell everybody about her, you know, past history. It's not like you know, she doesn't carry a sign around. So it just kind of connected. It was a very natural thing, and that's part of it. It was just kind of a natural evolution. And, you know, I couldn't believe how many people from this office came out there to do it. We had a fun time, and we'll send you the link to the video of it. We shot a little video about it, and Jim Folliard, of course, never without a camera, had his little Go video camera there and shot it. So it was a good time by everybody, and it made me just want to do more of them, regardless of the link or anything else. I could care less about that. I mean, it's good, but it was just a good thing to do. It gets our name out there. So anyway, that's just an example to people of how to do it. Minnie and I are actually coming out with campaigns, programs now to help our clients build on the community and the celebrity. There's lots of different ways to do that. So if you're interested in finding out about our programs to develop your brand in the community and create a celebrity, then just shoot me an email and we'll have a conversation about it. All right. Okay, so this is the Roundup. So what is this Roundup, Minnie? What are we doing here?
So, I mean, really, this is the whole thing. I mean, we walked you through how to identify your perfect clients, how to attract them, convert them, and then really, yeah, this is the last step. And it's a continuous process. It's not like when you're done with step 3, you check it off your list and you move on. I mean, these are things that you need to be doing constantly. Oh, this marketing round. Okay, I was just giving you the Roundup in general. This was actually something, okay, so that all is the case. I mean, you have to keep working with all those steps. But what I put together here that Tom's showing is just some things that happened recently just to know about as far as what's going on in the internet marketing world. Some new changes. Google Plus Local is now allowing you to put in your listing if you're open 24 hours. However, there's a catch to it. It can't be that you have a call center open 24 hours. You have to actually be reachable at your office. So just something to keep in mind. So if someone is reachable at your office location and you have that set up, you might want to add this to your listing because it just is one extra thing to do that's going to draw more clients into your office. Some of the other things.
Real quick about that. I mean, that really means just don't game the system. Stop gaming Google. And if that's your habit, is to try to figure out the best way to game Google, again, you're just going to continue to lose because Google's getting smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter. Just be real. Just be honest. Just put your business out there the way it really is.
Exactly. So you're right. It's just another example of that. A couple of the other things that I put on the slide, just as a reminder, not provided. I know that drives everyone crazy when they're in Google Analytics and your top keyword just says not provided. And obviously that means someone is logged into their Google account, so you're not going to be able to see the keyword that they use to get to you. And it's up to now 39% is the average number that you'll see of refer traffic showing that not provided. So you guys aren't the only ones. That is something that's going on across the board. But I believe we mentioned this on one of the previous webinars, but there is a workaround. So if you are someone who goes into Google Analytics and likes to dig into the data, pay really close attention to your top landing pages because you're getting that information. So you might not be getting the keywords, but if you know what your consistent landing pages are, you can make a very strong educated guess on what keywords someone's using. So if you have like an article that's on distracted driving and it continues to be like number 3 landing page, there's a very strong possibility that some of those keywords you're not seeing have distracted driving in them. So just there's a workaround, but again, we wanted to show you that it's definitely just becoming bigger and bigger. And so the last thing too to mention is that we talked about social media before, and Tom was mentioning how he's gotten more involved. You have to recognize that the search engines are looking now at social media as trust signals. Author tagging is another trust signal. So they're just continuing to gain momentum. So that means you have to be tagging your content that you're writing. That's really your digital signature on everything that you post. That's something that Google's looking at. You also have to make sure that you are involved in social media, and that includes Google+, because that's the only one that Google has access to. So if you want to be deemed as an expert about personal injury law, then you better be posting things that are relevant to that and relevant to your target market. So those are good things. Links are still important. We still look at those, but you have to look at the social aspect too. So that was my marketing roundup. We want to start adding these to the webinar so you just you always know what's going on out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's really important, those social signals. I mean, just because you're uncomfortable with social media, that doesn't mean not do it. It is becoming more and more important to the world of search. And speaking of, we have a gift for you. We have questions?
We do have questions.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on, we'll get to those in a minute. Just making sure that we do. But here's your gift. So we've been working on this for a while, Mindy. SEO Secrets. We've got a book coming out, SEO Myths. It's a gift for everybody. Doesn't cost anything. If you send me an email to tom@fostermarketing.com, I will send it to you as soon as it is ready. I think we just have to do the final touches to it, and we'll get it out. This should let you know all the junk that SEO dudes have been saying to you and all the lies and everything that they will tell you to pry money out of your pockets. It is not, the SEO game as we once knew it is pretty much over. A lot of the stuff that used to work can now hurt you, and you could be doing more damage by trying old tactics than really just adding good content, which is what Google wants you to do. But SEO gurus and SEO people don't want you to know that because they want to make a living off of you. So anyway, we'll send this out to you, and this should answer a lot of your questions. So Mike, what's the question you got there?
We have a question from Steve Richardson.
What?
Yeah, no.
Steve Richardson on the webinar? It's the first time webinar.
Any timeline for when DSS will have the CRM features to help us follow up on drip that is not an email?
Hopefully first quarter, Steve Richardson. You're part of the beta testing on that, but we plan to get that working in some form first quarter here.
And Steve also says that the Google alert for bankruptcy TMZ rocks. I get lots of content ideas from this.
There you
Some
go.
affirmation of TMZ. Jonathan Cooper has an observation. He says, Tom, the review page can be a bit tricky from an ethics perspective because under New York law, for example, you can't get testimonials from an active client and has to be from a concluded matter only.
That's a good point. Of course, all these things that we recommend to you, they will require business decisions on your part. And so if you have laws or forbidding you from doing it, if you're in Florida and you can't get testimonials or whatever, then those are things that you need to think about. But if you want to have a conversation about that, how do we get around it? What language do we use? How do we do it the way that satisfies you, the client, and the law? Then let's do that. Those are always, whenever I say this stuff, I'm saying as long as you can do it legally. Thank you, Jonathan.
Another question, James Murphy. It was mentioned that you can offer incentives for a review, example, $5 Starbucks card. Georgia allows for testimonials, but is it ethical to offer incentive for a review on our website? I don't think I saw an incentive on Shane Smith's review page like that. I'm guessing this is a face-to-face incentive offer then?
Well, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do it. You don't want to like give them like right on your page, here we're going to give you $5 for reviewing us. It's more like you want to send that out as a promotional piece. Like I know that the way that some lawyers and doctors have done it that are allowed to do it in their particular state, they'll send out in their newsletter, hey, review us at reviewtom.com, and then that, and for your review, we'll give you a Starbucks gift card or something like that, and then that, or a direct mail piece like that. I don't know. I actually seen we'll give you a Starbucks gift card on the review page itself. Once again, the value of getting reviews outweighs, in my opinion, any kind of hoops that you need to jump through to get the review. Because, and first of all, let me just say for the record, it's absolutely stupid that any bar, any legal organization that his best interest is to help lawyers, it's absolutely ridiculous not to allow reviews or testimonials of your work. So that's what I believe, and I know that you guys are just as frustrated by it, but that seems a fight worth having in my mind, because other industries can do it. There's no reason why that you can't put, in my mind, logically, whether you did a good job or not, as long as you're being truthful and honest, which we must always assume. But anyway, I would figure out any way that you can, and we have done that for Florida and other states, just the way that we configure the website, where they know that this is not the case of everybody and all that kind of stuff, but hey, reviews do matter, and it's hurting your business by not being able to put reviews. I hope that answers the question.
There are also a couple questions about the marketing roundup terminology. That was the title of the slide, not the app. We've gotten a couple questions about that, so just clarification there.
What?
Last slide. Internet marketing roundup. That's just the title of the slide. That's not any fancy app. Although maybe we should develop that.
Do we want? What do we do there? What's an app? Who asked that?
A couple people.
Did I say app? All right. Well, it's not an app. It's just a roundup of our presentation.
Also, we have a question about whether offering an incentive goes against Google or Yelp review rules.
Mindy, you ever heard of that?
I haven't heard of that. I mean, yeah, I haven't heard of that at all. I mean, it's something we can look into, but I haven't heard from anyone that that's been a problem.
But remember, our job is to try to sell things, and our job is to help you try to sell yourselves. And so we can all sit and come up with all the reasons why not, or we can figure out all these things that work for other people that work very successfully and start implementing them as best we can, as much as we can, and not rehearse difficulties and think about all the reasons why we cannot do it. What's the next question?
We have no more questions.
All right, very good. Well, then that is all the time, and we finished on time. So what do you got to know?
A little bit of a clarification for offering incentives for Yelp reviews. Right now, it appears that you cannot do that, but we can look for more clarification.
Yeah, we'll look at that. Who says that?
Danielle.
Danielle. Danielle, what are we doing? All right, we'll find out more information about that and get it to everybody. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for joining us. I hope that everyone has a wonderful holiday and a happy Hanukkah, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Did I cover it all? Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa, all that stuff. If you'd like a copy of the SEO Secrets book, why don't you shoot me an email at tom@FosterWebMarketing. And if you have any questions about this or anything else in terms of your web marketing, let us know. We're here to help you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Mindy. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Connie. And thanks for the hard questions, Danielle. And we will talk to you later.